Shortly after 9 a.m. on May 2nd of 2017, a convoy of 33 vehicles, one of them over 345 feet long, pulled out of a manufacturing facility in Schenectady, New York, to make the first of 3 multi-state transports from that site to a newly constructed combined cycle power plant in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Safety is obviously our number one priority. In any project we do, we want everything to run smoothly. Each morning meeting was conducted at the transporter with everyone involved in the move, from utility companies, private escorts, local and state law enforcement, to even railroad personnel. And everyone walking out of that meeting should know what their roles and responsibilities are for that particular day. If one person in our meeting has a concern, then we all have a concern.
The transport finally got on the road after months of detailed planning, engineering, permitting, and coordination. Edwards project managers brought innovative ideas and just good old-fashioned hard work as they traveled up and down every conceivable roadway, reviewing every turn in an effort to arrive at the most efficient route possible.
The leadership was just immense on this. We were able to work with professional companies. You make adjustments and they're there to help inform their crews of the adjustments that needs to be made. Without support and police escorting you through and protecting you against the dangers of traffic not being aware of what's going on. Utility support lifting the lines to get you under those lines so you don't make contact with them. Emergencies, EMS might need to get through and you need to be aware of it before they arrive. When we went into Fleetville, we knew that there were structures, as in buildings, right up next to the intersection. There's just no way that the transport was going to go through there without going past everything and going behind buildings and down through a field. And we had to do a huge horseshoe. So I just started knocking on doors, led to a couple that was in their 80s. When we sat down, I had to assure them that if we were to go through the property and we were to tear anything up, then we obviously would put it back the way it was. That's always a concern for somebody that doesn't understand the magnitude of 345-foot transporter going through their property. I knew it was either make it through this intersection and save myself 75 to 100 miles. It was literally that different. On one occasion when we had come through the little town of Fleetville, when we came up to Interstate 81, we needed to cross under a low bridge that was about 14 feet. We were running at 19. We had to pull the transporter on the ramp like we were going to go southbound in 81. Then we backed up the ramp all the way backwards up the interstate and then crossed over some preset mats and then went the wrong direction on the northbound side of 81 to get on the ramp so we can continue eastbound on 107. It was one of those things that everybody said we couldn't do, but just by explaining it and laying it out in great detail to the DOT, we were able to successfully get through it.
Edwards also brought innovation on the equipment side, utilizing an Aspen dual-lane expandable transporter with 3 Kenworth C500 tractors as the prime movers to traverse the 228-mile route.
One of the advantages of the Aspen trailer is the expandable wheel feature. That allows us to expand the width of the trailer to mitigate bridges for our permit requirements. So to go from 14.5 feet to 19 feet in the matter of a couple hundred feet going down the road. A couple times, even while making a turn off of a 1-lane road onto a 1-lane road with a bridge not far down, we're able to expand those axles as we're turning.
The expandable feature of the trailer enabled many bridges to be crossed that otherwise would have been impossible. In addition to being just over 345 feet in total length, the load had a total width of 19 feet 6 inches, a height of 18 feet 8 inches, and a total permitted weight of 913,227 pounds. Along the way, the Edwards team jumped several bridges and made some rather unusual maneuvers to route under overpasses that were too low. The permitting process itself was a consuming aspect of this journey.
For me as the permit administrator, this job was literally my life. When I was in the office working on paperwork and inputting things in the system, I was simultaneously on the phone with local jurisdictions, having my project managers go out to meet them and explain exactly what I was telling them on the phone. So it was my life for a month on end. I spent hundreds of hours working on these permits. The biggest win comes in finding that route that we could cross all the structures, and we found turn mitigations where everybody, all of the local agencies, Edwards, the DOTs, everybody involved could agree on that route. Both states worked really well with us. They allowed us to hire outside engineers to analyze structures a little bit deeper. They considered outside the box options as far as some of the tougher turns that we were able to negotiate. I mean, they worked outside of normal business hours just to assist us in coming to a route conclusion.
After traveling over 220 miles on the Aspen dual-lane trailer, Edwards reached a spot on the route where a transload operation had been arranged with a local vendor. The transload was necessary due to the room limitations inside the plant. Edwards used its J&R 700-ton gantry along with its J&R 175-ton power links to lift the 375,000-pound turbine and place it on an 18-line Goldoffer single-lane configuration with the new Goldoffer ad drive as the final module. This configuration was pulled by one Kenworth prime mover, and thanks to the ad drive was able to negotiate grades of up to 11% as it made its way into the plant.
The benefit of using the ad drive trailer on this move was not only for the pushing power up the hill, but also going on flat surface, the wheels can disengage. So the more the transporter gets up to speed, it can disengage axles and just need the power, get the power when it needs it. So once we come to a hill, the driver can engage the trailer, the ad drive as much power as he needs.
At the plant, Edwards needed to tighten the configuration a little further. The ad drive was the perfect tool for this, as it allowed Edwards to remove the prime mover from the configuration and utilize the ad drive as a self-propelled module and move the turbine right under the hook, completing a challenging but rewarding transport. All work was completed with no damage to equipment, no damage to the cargo, no injuries, and right on the schedule as promised.